Hi everyone, I'm Ellie, founder of Code of the Future, and today I'm going to continue with the Selenium tutorial series in Python by showing you how you can fill in forms, and specifically we're going to be doing it on Instagram. I'd just like to add a little disclaimer into this video. Please don't go and do irresponsible things with Selenium. Everything I'm doing in these videos are for educational purposes only, so please use what I say in these videos responsibly. Don't go and get accounts blocked because websites know when you're using Selenium, so just be careful when you go and experiment with this. But as always, I'm going to put my glasses on as usual and I'll move you onto the screen. Okay, awesome. So I'm in PyCharm and this is what we did in the first two videos. I basically showed you how to get Selenium all set up and show you how to do some really cool things like interacting with the elements on a web page and also typing and doing some other really cool things. So I've set up something very similar. I'm just going to get rid of these here, we don't need them. So the top here, I have imported relevant modules. So this is what we need in order to start, using Selenium. I have found the path where my Chrome driver is at, and I have essentially just said, okay, driver, get this website here. And the website we're using today is this one, and I'll just show you what happens when I run this file, just to show you what website I'm using. It's essentially the Instagram sign up page. So this is it here. We have an accept all element. So that's something that we'll need to remember when we start to do coding in a second. And we're just going to use this section here to, fill in a form very, very simply through Selenium. Okay, awesome. So you'll notice when I, cross off. So you'll notice when I started up this web page, it came up with, you need to accept the terms and conditions. So I'll just run this again and show you what it came up with. So when you run this specific web browser, this specific website, it says accept the cookies. So we need to make sure we click this accept all before we can then fill in the form. This is something I mentioned in my previous video. It's something that you have to do, otherwise you can't access the elements you want to on the web page, because this kind of message here is essentially blocking it. So all we're going to do is we're going to right click on accept all, we're going to click inspect as we did in the previous video, and it hasn't done it, so we're just going to do it again. Sometimes you have to do it twice. We'll click inspect. Okay, so notice we have this here. It says we have a button, accept all, and here. Now, if you've watched my first two videos, you'll know that we ideally want to be looking for something that says ID first, and then we want a name and then a class. Unfortunately, we are at the bottom here because we only have a class. I will just zoom in on this section here just so you can see what's happening, because I appreciate it does go a bit small. Okay, so this here, button class. It is highlighting the accept all bit, which is what we need to click. It's a button, and we only have this class here. Unfortunately, we can do things through class. Something I'm going to show you today is how you can use XPath. Now, XPath is really, really handy when you want to start clicking and interacting with elements. I don't use it a lot because I prefer to use, ID and then name and things like that, just because it seems to be a lot easier. But today I'm going to show you what is known as an XPath. So this section here, we're just going to right click, we're going to click copy, I'm going to go down to copy the XPath. Now this is copying the path of this specific button. So we've copied it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write some code. So first of all, we need, and I'll just drop this down, we need to accept the cookies. Now before we before we can fill in the form, we need to do this. So all we're going to say is driver.findElementBy. And notice we have this XPath here. We're going to write quotation marks and we're going to copy this element. So notice this is the path at which that button is located. So now if I say, okay, so now if I assign this to a variable, let's say cookies, and I say, okay, well, cookies driver, can you click at this specific point? So I will run this Python file. It will hopefully open the website we want, and it will accept the cookies on the page. Perfect, it's done it. There we go, awesome, it did it pretty much instantaneously. How cool is that? Okay, so now we've overcome the cookies, we can start looking at how you fill in forms. So what I'm going to show you is, we want to fill in these forms here. In the previous video we saw how you type in Selenium, and I'll explain that, in a second. However, now what we want to do is find the element at which these boxes are located. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to click inspect. Has it highlighted? It hasn't, so we'll do it again. Inspect. Okay, so it's found this section right here. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have in here. We have a label, we have a hat, we have a name. Now if you remember of the hierarchy, we essentially look for an ID first. Unfortunately there is no ID in here that I can see. We then look for a name, which we have here, perfect, and then we look for a class. So we have a name, so we'll just copy this name and we will say okay. So I'll just put, let's start filling in forms. So let's say we have the mobile name or email. So let's say phone or email is going to be the variable of driver dot find the element, this time by name. And what it's going to do is the driver is going to find this specific element here, and then we're going to say okay, at that specific element can you write something for us. Now if you remember from the previous video, the way that we do that is we will say phone or email dot send keys, and then we'll write in here whatever we want. So let's say our email is abc@yahoo.co.uk or .com, because that's a bit more universal, isn't it, with .com. Okay, should we see if this works? Let's do it. So we'll run. It will hopefully open up Instagram, it will accept the cookies, it will click on the mobile number or email. Hopefully. Have we had a bit of an error? I think we may have had an error. Let's have a quick look. Okay. Selenium wants to do things instantaneously, and sometimes we need to wait for that specific element to appear on the screen. Now for this video I'm going to use time.sleep, which is what I've used in a whole range of my other videos, but in the next video I'm going to be explaining to you how you can actually use Selenium to wait until a certain element on a screen appears. So for the sake of this video, we're simply just going to say here time. We're just going to put time.sleep, and we'll say about 5 seconds so that we can wait, and I'll just import time so that we can wait for this element to appear. So we'll just run this again and hopefully it will do the exact same thing. Okay, accept all. It's going to wait 5 seconds before it does anything else. Hopefully it will click and then it will write. Perfect, so it's done that. Exactly what we wanted. How awesome is that? So as I said, in the next video, which I highly recommend watching, what we will do is, instead of just telling Python to sleep for 5 seconds, what instead we will do is we will say okay, accept the cookies, but then we'll wait until this given element is located on the screen, and then you can write or interact with that element. Okay, so again, let's start filling in the forms. We've got phone or email. What's the next one? We've got full name. Let's inspect this element. Full name, let's have a look. I have a feeling that the name for that will be name. Oh, it's full name, awesome. Oh no, it's not. Name is full name here, if you can see that, if I just zoom in. We have the name is full name for this section here. So let's do the exact same thing. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste this, and I will change this to full name. And it wasn't email or phone, it was full name. Okay, so we're going to write a full name. So I'll just put Ellie, because that's my name. We'll say Ellie. And then similarly, let's have a play around with these. So let's have a look at username. Let's see, let's try to find a username in here. Can we find it? I think it's in this section. Let's have a look. This section, hat input, awesome, we found it. Let's have a look. Name is username. Very, very simple, as we expected. So I'll just put username there, just so remember. We'll copy and paste this again. We'll call this username, and here this will be username. So let's say our username will be Ellie, code of the future. Let's say that's our username. I'll just get rid of that there. Okay, so what's going to happen is it's going to find the element at which this is located at, it's going to write, and it's going to do the same for these. And then should we do password? I assume the password, if I'm not mistaken, I assume password will literally be password. Let's have a look. Name, password, awesome. So let's make a password up, shall we? We'll say password. We'll copy that and we'll say our password. Okay, password in here. Whoa. We'll say password in here because that's the name. And then what shall our password be? Let's have it just hello. That's definitely a weak password, but we'll put hello for now. Okay, so let's see what happens. We'll run this, and hopefully it will type everything that we've asked it to type in those given areas, and it's probably going to do it very fast, so it's going to do it pretty much once it's waited the 5 seconds, it's going to do it very fast. How cool is that? Now notice there are crosses here. That's simply because people have those you know, email and username. Someone has that username. That surprises me. That really surprises me. Anyway, so that is exactly how you fill in forms. Again, if you remember from my previous video, the way that you would then click next is you would simply just go password.submit, and it would click next. Now what I'm tempted to do is just to actually try and let's make a random Yahoo, and let's just make a random kind of username that no one will have, hopefully, and then see if we can then submit and create an account. So let's see if it works. I don't think anyone will have those usernames, but who knows, they may do. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's accepted all. I think it's lagging a little bit. I think it's lagged, so I'm just going to rerun that. We'll do that again. Hopefully it'll pop up a new one. Here we go. Okay. Okay, let's see if it works. So, okay, but we have an issue. The password is too easy to guess. So let's create a new one. Let's literally just put that. Don't think anyone will remember that unless you are a genius. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it will. We'll click next. Awesome. Then you go to the next bit, and it's asking us to fill in your birthday. Cool. So that is exactly how you fill in a form using Selenium. Cool. So that is exactly how you fill in forms using Selenium. Very, very cool, very enjoyable. I wouldn't recommend using this on Instagram because you will get your accounts blocked and you may get suspended from using Instagram indefinitely on your, you know, on your given device. So highly recommend not to, you know, actually use this as creating bots. This video has purely been for educational purposes only. So as I said at the start of the video, please use this responsibly. Don't get your account blocked. Just enjoy it. You know, there are plenty of pretend forms that you can use this for an example, so please use this responsibly. So that has been the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please give this video a big thumbs up, and if you want to support the channel even further, then hit the subscribe button and the bell notification with it so you don't miss out on any future videos, and also check out the donation link in the description of this video. But for now, I will see you all in the next video.